The morning light filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Lancaster Industries' penthouse office, casting long shadows across mahogany furniture and crystal awards. Victoria Lancaster, 24 years old, sat in her custom wheelchair before an untouched birthday cake, 24 candles burning steadily in the silence. The executive assistant had delivered it precisely at 9 a.m., along with her father's standard birthday card, pre-signed, impersonal, purchased by someone else. She was completely alone on what should have been a celebration. The irony wasn't lost on her that she commanded a trust fund worth millions, yet couldn't buy herself genuine company. The accident 3 years ago hadn't just taken her ability to walk. It had revealed the hollow foundation of every relationship in her privileged world. Her father, James Lancaster, CEO of Lancaster Industries, had retreated into his empire building with religious fervor after the crash. He provided everything money could secure: the finest medical care, a renovated penthouse with every accessibility feature, round-the-clock nursing staff. What he couldn't provide was himself. Each birthday, holiday, and milestone was marked by increasingly expensive gifts and increasingly distant communication. Victoria had learned to measure her worth in bank transfers and medical reports. Her world had shrunk to the confines of luxury that felt more like an elegant prison. The elevator chimed softly. Marcus Rivera stepped out, juggling coffee cups and architectural plans, followed by his 8-year-old son Diego, who bounced beside him with the irrepressible energy of childhood. Marcus was the building's head architect, a 32-year-old single father who'd been raising Diego alone since his wife Carmen died in a climbing accident 2 years prior. And like the corporate executives who inhabited these upper floors, Marcus worked with his hands and heart, designing spaces where people could actually live and breathe. Diego spotted Victoria immediately, his dark eyes widening with curiosity rather than pity. "Papa," he whispered loudly, tugging on Marcus's sleeve, "that lady is all alone with her cake." "That's really sad." Marcus looked over, seeing not just the expensive wheelchair or designer clothes, but the profound loneliness radiating from the young woman. His architect's eye, trained to see potential in empty spaces, recognized someone drowning in isolation despite being surrounded by luxury. "May we join you?" Marcus asked gently, approaching with Diego's small hand in his. His voice carried warmth and genuine concern, not the careful politeness Victoria had grown accustomed to from people who knew her father's reputation. Victoria's eyes widened in surprise. When was the last time someone had asked to join her rather than being assigned to her care? Yes, she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. Diego didn't wait for further invitation, pulling out a chair beside her wheelchair. "I'm Diego. This is my Papa Marcus. We're here because Papa is designing a new playground for kids for all kids." He caught himself with the innocent sensitivity children sometimes possess. Marcus settled beside them, his presence steady and undemanding. "Happy birthday, Victoria. I've seen you around the building, but we've never been properly introduced. I'm sorry you're celebrating alone." Victoria studied this man with calloused hands and kind eyes, so different from the polished executives who populated her father's world. "How did you know my name?" "Your father mentions you sometimes during our meetings," Marcus said carefully. "Though he mostly talks about your medical care and security arrangements, the truth stung because it was accurate. To James Lancaster, she had become a logistics problem to be managed rather than a daughter to be loved." Diego, oblivious to the adult undercurrents, had produced a small wrapped package from his backpack. "I made this in art class," he announced proudly, presenting her with a hand-painted ceramic mug featuring a wonky butterfly and the words "Be Happy" in uneven letters. "Teacher says butterflies are symbols of changing into something beautiful." Victoria accepted the gift with trembling hands, feeling tears threaten for the first time in months. The simple, imperfect beauty of a child's creation meant more than any expensive piece gathering dust in her penthouse. It's beautiful, Diego, thank you. Over the following weeks, these chance encounters evolved into something deeper. Marcus would find reasons to check on building projects near Victoria's floor, often bringing Diego, who had decided Victoria was the prettiest sad lady and needed cheering up. Their conversations began tentatively, circling around safe subjects before venturing into more personal territory. Marcus spoke of Carmen with the bittersweet fondness of someone who had learned to carry love and loss simultaneously. He described her passion for rock climbing, her fearlessness, her dreams of traveling the world with their family. Victoria found herself sharing things she'd never told her expensive therapists. She described the accident with clinical precision at first, the drunk driver, the moment of impact, waking up to machines and her father's CEO mask firmly in place. Gradually, she revealed deeper wounds, the slow realization that she'd become a liability to be managed. The endless days, where every need was anticipated except the need to be seen as more than her disability. Diego provided perfect interruptions to their heavy conversations, dragging Victoria into his imaginative games where wheelchairs could fly and sadness was just another color to paint with. He had appointed himself her personal happiness coordinator, frequently asking, "Are you smiling real smiles today, Miss Victoria?" with the earnest concern of a tiny therapist. One afternoon, as they sat in the building's rooftop garden while Diego chased butterflies, Marcus watched Victoria laugh at something the child had said. The sound was pure and unguarded, and he felt something shift in his chest, not the lightning strike of new love, but the gentle recognition of possibility. Victoria sensed his gaze and turned to meet his eyes. For a moment, the city noise faded, and there was only this, two people who had been broken in different ways, discovering they might fit together, not despite their damage, but because of it. "Victoria," Marcus said softly, "I need you to know something. Diego and I aren't here because we feel sorry for you. We're here because you make our days brighter. You make us better." Victoria's carefully constructed walls began to crumble. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "I've been alone so long I've forgotten how to be part of something." "Neither do I," Marcus admitted. "But maybe we can figure it out together." Their relationship grew slowly, carefully, like a structure built to withstand storms. They discovered joy in small moments, Diego teaching Victoria origami while Marcus sketched building plans. Victoria reading adventure stories with different voices for each character. Marcus instinctively adjusting restaurant spaces so Victoria's wheelchair fit perfectly at every table. But James Lancaster had been monitoring his daughter's activities through building security reports. The sight of her laughing with a working-class architect and his child filled him with cold calculation rather than joy. He summoned Victoria to his office one evening, the same space where she'd spent childhood hours waiting for his attention. "You will cease all contact with Marcus Rivera immediately," he commanded without preamble, his voice carrying the authority that had built an empire. "He's using you, Victoria. What else could he want from someone in your condition?" The casual cruelty of his words hit Victoria like a physical blow. "Someone in my condition? You mean your daughter?" James finally looked up from his monitors, his face an emotionless mask. "I'm protecting you. You're vulnerable, naive. You don't understand how people exploit weakness." Victoria's laugh was bitter. "Weakness. Marcus sees strength where you see liability. Diego sees a friend where you see a burden. When did you stop seeing me at all?" "Enough," James snapped. "If you continue this inappropriate relationship, I'll have him fired. I'll destroy his career. I'll ensure he never works in this city again." Victoria felt the familiar trap closing around her. Her father's threats weren't empty. She'd witnessed his ruthless business practices. The thought of Marcus and innocent Diego being crushed by her father's machinery was unbearable. That night she sent Marcus a message with shaking hands. "I can't see you anymore. Please don't contact me." "I'm sorry." Marcus stared at the text, reading it repeatedly, as if the words might rearrange themselves into something comprehensible. The coldness seemed so unlike Victoria, so final and distant. Diego found him sitting in their small apartment's living room hours later, still holding his phone. "Papa, why do you look like when Mama went to heaven?" "Miss Victoria can't see us anymore, buddy," Marcus said, his voice rough with unshed tears. Diego was quiet for a long moment, processing this incomprehensible adult decision. "But she loves us," he said simply. "I know she does. Her smiles are different with us. Real ones, not the pretend ones she uses for other people." For 3 days, Marcus respected Victoria's wishes, though it felt like suffocating. His architectural project seemed meaningless, each blueprint reminding him of dreams he'd planned to share with her. Diego stopped his usual chatter, his natural exuberance dimmed like a light with a dying battery. On the 4th day, when Diego asked if Victoria didn't want them because they weren't rich enough, something in Marcus snapped into clarity. He wouldn't let his son believe that love was conditional on bank accounts or social status. They returned to Lancaster Industries, making their way to the executive floor. Victoria was in her office, having refused to leave since her father's ultimatum. When she heard Diego's voice calling her name through the glass walls, her resolve shattered. She saw them in the hallway. Marcus standing tall, despite security's attempts to escort them out. Diego pressed against the elevator doors, calling, "Miss Victoria, we miss you. Please come back." Victoria wheeled herself out of her office, her heart breaking at the sight of their confusion and pain. Security guards flanked them, waiting for orders, but she held up her hand. "It's okay," she told the guards. "They're with me." Diego broke free and ran to her, wrapping his small arms around her with desperate relief. "You came back. I told Papa you would. I told him you loved us." Marcus approached slowly, his eyes searching her face. "Victoria, what happened? Your message. It didn't sound like you." Before she could answer, James Lancaster emerged from his office, his presence commanding immediate attention from security. "Remove them," he ordered coldly. "They're trespassing." But Diego stepped forward, all 4 feet of him, and looked up at the imposing CEO with fearless determination. "You're making Miss Victoria cry," he said clearly. "That's not what daddies are supposed to do. Papa says family means being there, not just buying stuff." The simple truth from a child cut through James's armor like nothing else could. He looked down at this fearless little boy, defending his daughter with more courage than most adults ever showed. Victoria found her voice. "Dad, when I woke up paralyzed and terrified, I didn't need the best doctors or the most expensive equipment. I needed my father. I needed you to hold my hand and tell me we'd figure it out together. Instead, you disappeared into your office and threw money at the problem." James's composure cracked. The elevator doors opened, revealing other executives who stopped to stare at the unprecedented scene of their CEO facing emotional confrontation. "I didn't know what to do," James admitted quietly, his voice barely audible. "When your mother died, I could work harder, build a bigger company in her memory. But when you got hurt, all my money couldn't fix it. I felt completely useless." Marcus spoke gently. "You're not useless, Mr. Lancaster, you're afraid. When Carmen died, I wanted to follow her. But Diego needed me, so I learned to be afraid and present at the same time. Your daughter needs you, not your money or your protection. Just you." James looked at this working man who had somehow understood what he, with all his education and success, had missed. "I've lost 3 years," he said, his voice broken. "How do I come back from that?" Victoria wheeled closer to her father, reaching for his hand. "One day at a time, Dad, just like I learned to live with this chair. One day at a time, together." James gripped her hand like a drowning man finding shore. "I'm sorry, Victoria. I'm so sorry. I turned you into a project because I couldn't bear to see you suffer. But I see now that I caused you more pain than that accident ever did." Diego, sensing the storm had passed, piped up with perfect timing. "Does this mean we can all be a family now? Because I really want Miss Victoria to be my mom, and I want you to be my grandpa." The innocent question broke the remaining tension, drawing watery laughs from everyone present. James looked at his daughter, then at Marcus, then at the little boy who had shown more wisdom than most boardrooms ever would. "If you'll have me," James said quietly, "I'd like to try. I'd like to learn how to be a father again. A grandfather, maybe. Victoria squeezed his hand, tears flowing freely. "We'd like that, Dad. We'd all like that very much." 2 years later, Victoria and Marcus were married in the same rooftop garden where they'd first recognized their love. James walked beside his daughter's decorated wheelchair, his hand resting proudly on her shoulder. Diego served as both ring-bearer and best man, bouncing with excitement in his miniature tuxedo. The ceremony was small but meaningful, attended by Marcus's construction crew, Victoria's carefully chosen friends, and James, who had learned to step back from his empire to be present for the moments that truly mattered. As they exchanged vows, Victoria spoke of finding family in the most unexpected places, of love that sees possibility where others see limitation. Marcus promised to build a life with her that was strong enough to weather any storm, beautiful enough to inspire wonder, and spacious enough to hold all their dreams. When Diego cheered loudly at their kiss, everyone laughed, the sound echoing off the building walls like a celebration of second chances and chosen family. James, watching his daughter radiate joy, finally understood that the most valuable things in life couldn't be purchased, managed, or controlled. They could only be received with an open heart and nurtured with presence, patience, and unconditional love.